It's Murphy, Sam, and Jody after the show. And so, today it's an area that I think is becoming really confusing, difficult to follow, and you can really make a mess out of your life real quick by going down the home automation route if you're not careful. Because, A, the choices are everywhere now, and even though they're coming down in price, it can get really expensive really fast if you're not careful, if you don't pick the right thing. Does that make sense? Because the world is all surrounding Google Home or, the Amazon Echo, and I guess Apple to a certain degree fits in there somewhere.
Yeah, well, if you go to Best Buy, there's all those other little brands that you can buy lights for, or buy this for, or buy that
Well,
for.
aren't you glad there's that many
that's
choices, though? There should be.
There should be that many choices, but it would be really easy to trip over yourself, and that's why I actually have both the small Google Home units and the Amazon Echo, because I'm going to do both. There's some things, like, for example, and here's another brand name, for music. You've heard of Sonos, right?
Yes.
And so that's been around for a long time. Those actually were smart speakers that were smart speakers before the Amazon Echo became popular and before the Google Assistant. So you could build a network of speakers around your home, built on your Wi-Fi system, no wires, the kind of person like me that doesn't really like drilling holes in walls for that kind of stuff. And you could have your home, stereo everywhere. And so a year and a half ago, they came out with a compatibility with a built-in Alexa.
Right.
I'm going to try not to say her name too many times, because you know what happens. We set off everything around us every time we say
Sonos
that.
did.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, but they did not have the Google Assistant. And a lot of people who've gone Google Home have said, well, when are you going to make this thing smart enough to interface with the Google Assistant? And so now they've just released that. And so it's out, and I've got Sonos speakers just because they're a higher I'm a music aficionado, and so I like good speakers.
You're also,
and as
Murphy,
Wi-Fi goes.
Murphy, you're also a collector. That's one reason. I don't think most people have, what's her name, and the Google Assistant. I don't think most people are rocking two different.
I do.
You do, Sam? But you do because Murphy has it, right?
I just bought a one little tiny Google.
To see how they differ?
In case something, I can't get a who to answer me.
Right.
I can go to this one.
And
she gives better weather, too.
I know.
The reason for that, I think the reason you're seeing people that wind up with both is because if you have an Android phone, for example, and you're Android-based in what you do, you're Google-based already.
Yeah.
So the Google Assistant is much smarter in your world. She knows all of your emails. She pulls it all together. And so it's you can go crazy. That's what I mean by this, is it continues to splinter and splinter and splinter and splinter and splinter.
It's true with all technology,
yeah,
right?
But
trying to keep up with it.
But so like Sam's Hue bulbs, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes life easier for you because you just buy the bulb. The smart technology is in the bulb. Mm-hmm. I'm considering doing the switches because I want to be able to use whatever bulbs I want to use. And I'm comfortable doing, wiring in the walls, but you can get carried away with the switches really fast, too. It's the same thing.
And when I have looked at, maybe I should get this, or even Echo, you had the original Echo, and then now you got the, version 2 or version 3 generation, and you got the Dots.
You're always going to be
third
playing.
generation Dot. And so it's like, and you finally to make that big decision that this is the way I'm going to go. And in 6 months, it's like, I should have waited because this one's better, and it's the newer variety, and it's in triple
you're
stereo.
always going to be in catch-up mode when it comes to technology, and you always have been, and you're going to be.
Yeah, and so it just as fast as a computer goes out of date or your phone goes out of date, at what point, if you start to build this little thing over the time, in your house with smart automation, when does it become completely out of date? And because you've built it in tiny little pieces, you get 5 years down the road, it's going to cost a fortune to replace it, right? Or update.
Or you're going to stay with an older system.
So, to me, that's like a different place in the world. Are we going to become so dependent on this kind of stuff at some point?
Some people will, some people won't, though. It's not in my nature, to do this. You know that, Murphy. You do your thing, and then you tell me how to work stuff. That's how we live.
Yeah.
It's like last night when I went to bed early, you were messing with something. I can't remember what it was, but you were working on something for the house, and it's going to work this way, and I can't wait to show you. I'm like, great. I'll wait until you're done and showing me.
Yeah.
Something about the doorbell or something like that.
Well, it's the Nest camera.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
That goes with the Nest doorbell.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, though. It's just like with my kids. It's like when you get it all done,
then
let me know how to do it.
Yeah.
Let me know what to say.
But I don't know that I want my whole house to become voice responsive to
I
everything that
don't.
I do.
I don't.
You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. It's cool. It's just.
I know you love it.
There are certain conveniences when it's like you got an armful of groceries and it's like, Alexa, turn on the kitchen. All the lights come on. You know,
Okay.
you don't have to put down and flip a switch. And I know that's just one example, but it is convenient to be able.
Okay.
And you've had it too, Murphy. Y'all have had it. You're
With the
laying in
Christmas
bed.
tree.
Laying in
Christmas
bed,
tree's
yeah.
on.
Yeah, right.
Alexa, turn off the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Don't have to get out of bed.
That will always be the first time I remember using it in that way.
Well, and now to me, what adds to the next layer of complexity is the whole thing called routines or themes. You know, there are different words for them.
Yeah.
So you actually can, you know, if this one thing happens, then these other two things can happen.
Yeah.
So what Sam was just describing about coming home from, you could actually have, you know, your security system, for example, if you've opened the door, once that relay goes off and the door is open, tell it to turn a light on, you know, and it can all. The whole thing can just interface with each other, and that to me would be confusing and complex at some point.
When I get up in the morning, I say, Alexa, start my day. That's the routine. And my nightstand comes on. She tells me what the weather is going to be today. The light in the kitchen comes on. The patio lights come
And you
on
love
because I'm
that.
about to let Gus out.
Yeah.
And another light in the front room comes on.
There you
And
go.
I can decide if I want those lights to stay on all day or just for the next 20 minutes while I'm here before I leave for work.
Sure.
And then they'll go off.
Yeah.
See? Look, Murphy's like, wait a second. Let me write that.
You know,
Yeah.
If I had to take a guess, if I could put some Jim Cramer hat on,
All right,
I would
Bailey.
think that Amazon and Google would hear these kind of problems
Right.
and address the issue of having a lot of different little modules
Mhm.
and instead make an entire service where they'll come out to your house and literally make your house accessible to Google or she who must not be named. And that way, whenever you go back to the housing market or whatever, like your house will be listed as a
Automated.
Google house,
Smart house.
and
Smart
yeah,
house.
exactly.
Ooh, yeah.
You know,
You are talking the future, and
Yeah.
you are right. What you guys are doing is dillying in this, or whatever
Yeah.
you call it, dabbling in
y'all
it.
are the early adopters.
You are.
Yeah,
in
you
this
guys
case.
Because
are
you
you guys
think
are
it's so-
beta testers.
Right, because you think it's so cool, and it is cool for you. You guys know this stuff doesn't really interest me.
Yeah.
I have no problem turning a light on and turning it off.
It is-
Yeah, I know,
doesn't
and most
interest
people
me.
don't.
It is cool, but it's still really coming together.
Yeah, you're in the early stages of it,
Yeah.
which is neat. You're going to be telling, kids one day, well, I used to have to tell her to do that.
or like us. I used to have the Atari back in my day.
Right.
Really?
Had to
Right.
walk
8-bit?
across the room to turn off the light.
Yeah.
I-
Well, as the price point keeps coming down on this, that's what opens the new opportunities. You remember when, to me, when as flat screens were just starting, to develop, and getting a 48-inch TV cost a fortune, and now Walmart will put those in the front row.
Yeah.
$200 you can walk home with a 48-inch, flat screen. The home automation is kind of becoming the same thing because, for example, I think it was right before Mother's Day weekend. And I'm going to try to remember which unit it was, which. If you bought the Google Hub, which is the one that has the screen on it, then you would get a free Google Mini to go along with it.
Yeah.
And it was also $50 cheaper than, so that's $75 cheaper than it was just a month before. And they're going to continue to do those kinds of things. I guess they're going to have to. If everybody's going
They're
to
going
adopt
to
it,
entice
it
you.
has to become a price point that everybody can afford.
Yeah, and I dare you to find a not smart TV.
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
It can't be done.
Yeah, you're right. So it seems to me that the choices and the complexity you could really put yourself in a corner really fast by putting too much in your home.
You know what I need to do? I need to have my mom over and tell her about and say,
See what she thinks.
make the lights come on, Mom. I don't know how to do that.
She probably wouldn't like it. She's
Yeah.
not interested in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys have done a very good job of illustrating the points where it's an advantage, where like you're in bed or you have a morning routine.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting. You guys have adopted it very much so, and I'm maybe late 20s, 30s, and I am totally resistant to this. Like I've
Right.
gone
Are you really?
I've gone full old man about it. Like, and it's I can feel the barrier slightly breaking down because just like, oh, it's getting cheaper. There's a few things I could use with it, but in general, like most stuff that I can do by myself, it just feels wrong to give it these. I don't know. Yeah, it feels wrong for me.
Permissions.
Yeah,
Right.
I very much want to do all this stuff by
Right.
hand.
No problems with the Big Brother issue?
I don't even
That's
really
too
care
late
about
for that.
It's been too late for that.
Yeah.
I will
See,
say this.
I've already got that too.
Me not caring about this stuff is interesting and may prove to be interesting, Murphy, because you and I are married and you are so interested in this stuff. And I know you're going to continue to be. You will continue to automate our home in ways that I don't care about, but it's going to be a problem one day. Like, I can see that we're going to have, like, I won't be able to turn something on or off, and it's because of the way you've set it up. You know, I'm going to have to either start paying attention to what you're really doing and get on board, or I'm going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem in my own house.
It's not recognizing your voice because you have a cold. I can't get the
Right.
door to unlock.
You know what I mean? Even
I know what
as
you mean.
simple as when you, instead of us having just one unit to play music, I was supposed to tell it to play on the living room group so that it would fill the whole room. If I didn't do that right and I couldn't regulate the sound, it drove me crazy. It's kind of like, man, complicating my simple music. You know, I just wanted to play some music, and it's like I'm not telling it right. So I can see an issue of two different people living together in a home, which we do. You know, if you create our home to be this big automated, convenient thing, and I don't feel like being a robot today, am I going to be able to turn the lights on?
Well, I think we do that, part together. It's like Sam says, it's a blend of the cool and then the functional. So you really have both. And for me, I mean, look, I love the cool all day long, but you could max your credit cards out trying to buy everything that's out there.
Not interested in that.
The functional stuff, the things that actually save time and help you manage the family and that kind of thing, that
Right.
because every decision takes brain power, and one decision that you can take off if it's done at the same time every day, why not let automation do that for you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To me, that's where the benefit comes in. But it's a fine line, especially when you want to turn the lights red or green or orange or whatever.